Chapter 36. Parents are not always right. I felt like we were crawling to the end of July, and, as expected, Aiden's dad forbade him to play in the Albanians versus Australians soccer game that was coming up, and for all the reasons Aiden guessed. The more that people around town talked about the possibility that the refugees might stay here past November, the more Mr. Macmillan seemed to dig into his ways. He even had a letter to the editor published in the local paper, where he said, "Charity begins at home, and Australia has its own less fortunate to put first." We all thought Aiden had given up on the game, but then Mr. Curry asked him for his permission slip to play. "Right here, sir," Aiden said, and he pulled the piece of paper from his backpack. Mr. Curry's eyebrows went up and he smiled. "We're lucky to have you playing for Australia," he said. We four waited until we were outside the school gates before we turned on Aiden. "What the? Your dad didn't sign that," Jed said. Aiden looked down at his feet and kicked a stone down the footpath. "No, but I did." "You forged your dad's signature?" Kira yanked on Aiden's arm to make him stop walking. Aiden shrugged Kira off. "Don't be ridiculous," he huffed. "I forged my mum's." "Your dad knows what day the game is on. He just won't let you out of the house, and how do you plan on getting there anyway?" I said. At that, Aiden looked at me and turned his bottom lip inside out into a puppy dog pout. "Oh no," I said. "Please, Fred." Aiden got down on his knees and Jed shook his head like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Sam started giggling as Aiden brought his hands up to me like he was praying. "I will never ask for anything else," he said. "Just let me take care of getting out of the house and then ask Luca to give me a lift with you guys. By the time we're out there, the game will be going and Dad won't be able to do anything." "Since when has it been this important to you anyway?" Jed sneered, and I was surprised at the venom in his voice. Aiden jumped back onto his feet, dusted off his knees and stuck his hands back into his jacket pockets. He shrugged, but he didn't answer Jed. He spoke to me. "Dunno. Just when I decided that I didn't agree with everything my dad says." He started walking again, and the four of us followed. "And I don't want it to be like my not playing is the same thing as me agreeing with him, you know?" Something had been bothering me for a while by then, and that day it finally bubbled over, like I was a kettle on the boil. "Is that why you still hang out with me and Sam?" I said. "Even though your parents don't like that Annika and Luca are living together and are about to have a baby?" Sam frowned and looked from me to Aiden and back again. "Wait, what's happening?" Kira asked, but we all ignored her. Aiden stopped walking, and so did I. I stood in front of him and I could see a blush forming on his cheeks, and then he finally met my eyes. "I've never really thought about it like that," he said, "but if I listen to what my dad says, then I wouldn't have you guys as friends, and that would be so much worse. And yeah, it's the same with what he thinks about the Haven and those kids. He doesn't know them, but he talks about them all the time. He has no idea, but he acts like what he thinks is right just because he says so." Aiden kicked another stone along the path, with a perfectly straight leg like he did playing soccer. "It's weird, knowing that your parents are wrong about some stuff, hey?" I sighed. "Okay, I'll get Luca to give you a lift." "Fred, you don't have to," Jed started to protest. Before I knew what was happening, Aiden had his arms wrapped around my middle and was lifting me off the ground and spinning me around.